Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the New Look Episode 7 recap, with the biggest twist and ending explained. Warning, spoilers alert. Dior's goal is both close and far in the New Look Episode 7. I'm still amazed at how un-Dior the presentation is and how much emphasis is placed on Chanel's antics rather than Dior's new look. For the most part, Episode 7 centers on Chanel's arrival in Paris and her resentment towards the Werthimers for stealing Chanel No. 5. Catherine, on the other hand, reverts to her rebellious nature, which Christian cannot control. The man is torn between his concern for her, which he often denies, and his massive collaboration with Boussac. Has he gotten ahead of himself? Did he make a mistake by choosing Boussac over Lilong? How will he battle for what he wants with his own label? These are Dior's big questions, and this episode gives us a small insight into them. As much as John Malkovich struggles with the accent, I believe his portrayal of Lilong in this episode is his best yet. Specifically, Lilong learns about Dior's departure. How does Elsa convince Pierre to take Chanel to Paris? The New Look Episode 7 begins the next day after the events of Episode 6. Elsa returns to the hotel inebriated, and Chanel attempts to convince her to sober up because she has a deadly plan in mind. It's unclear what kind of relationship Chanel and Pierre have, but it's clear that he cares profoundly about her romantic feelings. Chanel seizes the chance to capitalize on Elsa's emotions and assigns her the task of obtaining a ticket to Paris. Chanel wants to travel to Paris to meet her perfumer and bring back her new creation to Switzerland so she can take back what's rightfully hers. Given all that has happened thus far in this series, I believe Chanel is mostly motivated by her enormous greed. Elsa's first aim is to intimidate Pierre by bringing up his relationship with Chanel in front of his wife, but she changes tactics when she discovers his wife has already arrived in Paris. Elsa plays the sick nephew card, which makes Pierre feel sorry for Chanel and agree to accompany her to Paris. This is certainly an opportunity for Elsa, who expects Chanel to include her in her business. While the New Look's depiction of Chanel's Nazi complicity is not far off the mark, there is a vast truth that eludes us due to her opulent lifestyle, which allowed her to conceal the truth from the public. So there's a lot we're missing from this short TV presentation, but we do get to witness how her treachery didn't bother her for a second. Where does Catherine go? While Dior and Jacques argue about the scope of Boussac's demands, Catherine goes outside with Herve for some fresh air. Dior is so stressed out by everything going on around him that he takes it out on Jacques, who chooses to give him a break for the time being because he doesn't know design and creativity. Oops. Herve responds quickly, as usual, telling Catherine that she may help at the repatriation center. She might be able to help Parisians find their loved ones. Dior despises the thought of Catherine placing herself in a position where she may be damaged by her history again. Nonetheless, she refuses to listen to him. Catherine finds the labor therapeutic, but it exhausts her, leaving Christian alone. Is Chanel's plan successful? Yes, very much so. A naive Pierre provides Chanel and Elsa with a safe passage to Paris. When they arrive, Chanel is supposed to assist her nephew in packing, and then leave immediately. However, she assigns Elsa the responsibility of assisting André and pays a visit to her perfumer to obtain her new elixir. Chanel makes it back to André's without incident. Nevertheless, Pierre's brother Paul has discovered something about his brief encounter with Chanel. Paul threatens Pierre with notifying the FIS about Chanel's presence in Paris. He is skeptical of the suspected Nazi collaborator, unlike his brother, who is blinded by admiration. When it's time for the group to leave Paris again, Pierre learns from Chanel herself that she came to start a battle with him and his brother with her new perfume, Chanel No. 1. Pierre is able to let her go because he loves her. I assume there is no other explanation. Chanel falls asleep on the train back to Switzerland after injecting herself with drugs. Elsa is also tempted by this, and they both rest. It nearly appears that this is a massive error, but I could be reading into things too much. How can Dior acquire his dream couture house? When in doubt, take a seat at your old table and let your creative juices flow again. Dior comes to Lilong's business, reflecting on his error in associating with Boussac, the dictator. Madame Zeinaker discovers him, but her nice words fall flat with Dior. See, Dior is the epitome of anxious inventiveness. He enjoys his work, but he will never fight for it since it makes him too anxious. He tells Zainaker that Balzac's concept has entirely ruined the image Dior had for his own house. He shows her the modest site he'd chosen for his dream, a lovely, isolated, yet approachable and private space perfect for his clientele. Zainaker is inspired by Dior's idea and determines that if he won't stand up for himself, she will. She speaks to Balzac, stressing that if Balzac does not allow Dior creative control, Dior will die. I love how that's precisely what Christian says several times this episode. I can't work under him, I will die. A genuine artist. Zainaker's remarks persuade Balzac because he is willing to grant Dior his dream shop on the condition that Zainaker handle the financial side of things. An excellent relationship is formed for an ambitious endeavor unlike any other. Why does Catherine go see her father? At the end of the New Look episode 7, Catherine is overwhelmed by a man who pays her a visit at the repatriation center. He claims to be her father's friend and tells her how fortunate he must feel that she has returned to him. He gives her a photo of his daughter, who would also have been in Ravensbrück with Catherine. It appears she knew the girl, or it reminded her of how bad the camps were. There could be several reasons why Catherine chooses to visit her father. For starters, the fact that this man's daughter hasn't returned to him suggests she realized her father would miss her. On the other hand, her leaving would allow Christian to focus on his work and immerse himself without fear, though this appears impossible. Catherine sleeps with a portrait of the girl at her bedside at her father's house. The episode concludes with Catherine sobbing and apologizing. We don't know if she's apologizing for not being able to help, or if she knows the girl was slain. Thank you for listening.